Hello everybody. So this morning I saw a video from way back in the early 90s. It was of a band that I think they had one hit. I don't know if they had any others. I can't really remember. They were on one of the late night talk shows, and this footage from, I think it was 1993, like the Letterman show or something, playing their hit. And I remembered all these memories came flooding back to me. I didn't really care for the song that much. It sounded a little bit whiny at the time to me. A little off-kilter, and not necessarily in a good way. And I was into off-kilter back then. I was into all kinds of things. I had to come out of the 80s as a big fan of punk rock and Husker Du and all kinds of what they came to refer to as alternative bands at the time. Truly alternatives to the mainstream. But going into the 90s, I was familiar with the grunge stuff. I heard it. I liked some of it. It wasn't my thing 100%. But anyways, this old song brought back memories because it was kind of, you couldn't escape it. I mean, all we had at the time was the radio. Some people had satellite radio, but we all still listened to the mainstream stuff. That came over the airwaves for free at the time. And I remember the times. And I know a lot of people reminisce nowadays. I can see it. That a lot of people, particularly younger people, they reminisce for a time that they didn't live through. And older people reminisce for a time they did live through. And I think I know why that is. And it's an escapism in a way. And you can see it in the comments when you look at some of these old videos from on YouTube. You can see it in the comments. People almost universally decry the current artistic climate and pine for the old days. And that not just the artistic climate, but everything. It was a better time. It was freer. And it was, to some extent, freer. I don't know if it was better. I typically don't like to think of the present time that I reside in being any less. It's what you make it. It is what you make of it. So it's on you. It's your responsibility to make it. If it's a time that's inferior in any way, then that's on you. In some regards, I mean that it can be harder. It can definitely be harder, and it is to some degree. But anyways, this band, I was curious. I was never really into them that much. I remember them. I remember a few things about them. I know that the lead singer isn't around anymore, but I don't remember why. People die, and you just... So I looked it up, and sure enough, he died in 1995. He had just had a baby girl, so now she's 25 or 26, and I think she's a performer in her own right now. Time flies. And the girlfriend with whom he had the baby is still around. She's an artist of some kind. And I think she's part of a documentary that came out about him and the band. I haven't seen it, but she's got an Instagram page. And I did a quick scroll through that to see where the spirit is now. Because that music occupied a spirit. It came out of a spirit of somewhat anti-establishment, it was anti-corporate. And I understand when a band is mainstream like that they've given in, and it's a show. Their anti-establishment posturing is all bullshit. I get that, and it's true. It is, but it came out of something. I remember the zines I used to kind of come across and read occasionally in the 80s. Because like I said, I was a fan of punk rock music. And the bands I could tell you about that I've seen had a whole history with that. Yeah. I even knew some guys too at one time. But That's for another time. But I remember the zines, and the zines were very anti-establishment. Caricatures of Reagan and caricatures of Thatcher and corporations, the big controllers of society. And I remember specifically one cover had a drawing of a sinister-looking drawing of a syringe and a needle. And we know what that was about. They were onto that stuff way back. They were onto the attempts to control, the attempts to mitigate the population back then. Those guys were. And that's what that came out of. So I wanted to see where the spirit was when I went to this woman's Instagram. And I scrolled through for just a few minutes before I saw the inevitable photos of this person masked and face shielded, and the requisite photograph of her and her vaccine patch, all proud of it. And I thought, it kind of made me reminisce for just a moment about a better time. And I don't like that. That was an old world. So I came to realize that had nothing to do with this world. That world had nothing to do with this world. It's like looking into another universe, onto another planet. It's gone. That is completely gone. We are in a different slipstream, a completely different resonance. And I know it's not all, but a lot of people's minds have succumbed to this. They've been reprogrammed. They're more malleable now. They're in the hands of the controllers utterly. And the controllers can push a button. They can do whatever the hell it is they do. And they can make people jump herky-jerky if they want to. And they are. And that world is gone. Your heroes are dead. You have to have new heroes. You have to have new benchmarks. And those are out there. Believe me, they are. Now, the beauty of this is that the game is... It's reset. The game board is all clear, which means you can make it how you want it. We can build the new world as we see fit. Now, there are quite a few people who've awakened, and near as I can tell, more and more are awakening every day. I don't know what the critical mass is. I don't know if there is a critical mass. I think there might be. There is, I hope. But it's up to you to make the new world completely. And that is where the opportunity lies. All right. I'll talk to you another time.